Hi guys, and we are live with another episode of Hashtag Educators Can, and I have Nikki Leonti that way with me. Hi Nikki, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm really good. It feels like it's been forever since we've actually managed to have bring us together.
It does. It's like,
yay! Yes, so that's good.
Yeah, no, it's nice to have a normal 7:30 night. Touch wood.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we've got 3 great questions tonight, but as you come on, guys, say hi and let us know who's here and pop any questions that you have in the notes. And even if you're here on the replay, pop them in because we will come back to them. So we have Katie here and Kathleen here. Hi, guys. How are you tonight? So let's dive into our very first question. And this week with my blog, I talked about allowing children time and giving them the gift of time. And we've had some discussion about how do you give children appropriate choices. And I think this has come from, I really spoke about not forcing children to have one planned experience after another planned experience after another planned experience, really looking at your programming and making sure you are not jam-pack too much into a day. But then I got questions around choices and how do we encourage children to make choices when they really don't want to. And I thought that was a really interesting question. And I think it's about knowing your own children and offering really age-appropriate experiences. But also, if the children aren't interested in something, then being willing to rejig it, change it slightly, add something more to it. Nikki, how did you go about giving your children choices in a family daycare setting?
For me, so it was really in the end, and we are going to talk a little bit about, I always made sure that we had shelving set up that was at child height, that I had resources available that they could that I already let them know how to use it, because sometimes we put stuff out and we assume children know how to use it, but they don't. And so I made sure that every time I put new things out, that everyone knew how to use it, so that allowed that activity to be a choice for them. Otherwise, it's not really a choice if they don't know how to use it. And in terms of, even snacks, and we're talking about choices, not just in activities, but, I would always have drink bottles, on a table ready for children to go and have a drink whenever they wanted. And we'd even have some fruit cut up if really easily accessible, because, they're sucking it and putting it back and all that kind of stuff. It's really gross. But, it gives children that opportunity to, have some choices, but we need to make sure that we're educating them about that process and not just saying, oh, I've got all this stuff here, they can choose, because children can get overwhelmed quite easily. And if they don't know how to use something, they're not that inclined to actually ask you. Like, they're not going to tell you they don't know how to use it. They're just going to start throwing things around. So if you are finding that, things are getting broken all the time, or things are getting thrown around all the time, have you actually, shown them how to use it properly and respectfully? That's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think breakages as well are what we're offering the children age appropriate, is, as well as children really don't need 10 choices. Sometimes, as you said, being overwhelmed, just 2, this one or this one, that can be enough of a choice for them build that skill in choosing. Like, children can feel really, really overwhelmed if we give them too many choices, and that's not what we want in our care setting.
Yeah.
Oh, Katie said she can't hear us, but she can hear us now. So I hope we've had sound all going. So that's great. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Hi, guys. Okay. Let's do, now I was asked, oh, it doesn't want to show the questions. So I was asked this week, it just doesn't. If I have siblings in care, and what do I think about having siblings in care? And I'm not quite sure. I didn't really get clarification on this, so I'm not sure whether she meant around just actually having siblings in care and what that means to my business and the management of having 2 children at a time, or whether it came more on sibling rivalry or that sort of thing. So I'm going to take it on a bit of both. And I think it is lovely to have siblings in care because it's mixed age groups. It's about encouraging that sibling bond, but also encouraging that group as a 4, so they can be individuals as well as bond. But when it comes to siblings in our care setting, because we have only 4 spots, so to take on 2 children is actually a bigger risk than taking on 1. That's the way I see it. And when I looked at this question and sort of sat down, I went, okay, well, since we went back from the 5 to the 4, I don't take on 3 children families, because I see that as a really quite a big risk to my business. And in the same token,
quick thing though, can you just really highlight what you just said when we went from 5 to 4? Can you just highlight to some people wouldn't realize that that was even an option before? Can you just in case they get confused?
So when I started as an educator, we had the option of having 5 children, and I actually had, for a while, I had exemption through Department of Children's Services, and I actually had 6. So
okay.
Then when we came back to, and the new regs were put in place, and we were only allowed 4 children, and I no longer had the exemption for the extra child, I was only allowed 4 children in care at the one time. I'm only licensed for 4 children under school aged, and I believe that's across the board everywhere now. That it was introduced separately, it was introduced with different timings, but as far as I'm aware, right across Australia now, we're only allowed 4 children under school age. And I know school age classes are slightly different in some states, but when we came back from the regs being 5 children under school age to 4 school age, I made the decision for my business that I would only take a maximum of 2 siblings. I wouldn't take in 3 siblings. Now, Tracy's asking, hi, Tracy, how are you? So Tracy's asking, am I a room leader? And no, I'm a family daycare educator. And we educate children in our home. So we have our own businesses that are licensed with the government. So is that the best way to sum us up very quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So only having 4 children at home now means that you then have the income of only 4 children. And if I was to have 3 children from the one family and they were to give notice or leave on short notice, or, you know, anything happens with families, they get retrenched, they change jobs, they change hours that they need. I just feel for my business that 3 children is a bigger risk than 2. Nikki, have you had siblings in care?
Yeah, I did. I had two brothers in care. Now, for me, that was actually even harder because at the time I had the two boys. I also had my own two boys, so I only had two spots available. So they were completely taken. But it wasn't a big deal for me because they were coming on a weekend, so they would come every Saturday. So for me, that was not a problem if they stopped coming all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So that wasn't such a big deal. But that's the only time I've actually had siblings. I'm pretty sure that's the only time I really had siblings. So for me, it was an issue because I did only have two spots available, especially when I first started before my eldest went to school. And with that, meaning that if they both left at once, I would be completely stuck on that day. So, or other things like if that particular family doesn't pay on time or a big bill or, all sorts of issues that could deeply impact your business. So think about that. If you're in a position where you can choose, siblings or not having siblings, you need to think about that for your business as well. How would it go if they all of a sudden left? How many spots then would you have to fill in those particular days? So yeah, it is, that was never something I even thought of before I started. Like it was just not it was not a thing. But, I just saw Katie's comment as well, it can also be a good thing because the boys really helped each other settle in. So that was good because then they loved coming. They settled in really easily. And they were such a lovely family and they always paid on time. So, you can have really, really good situation or you can have a really, really bad situation. So, you just need to think about those things. But some people aren't in a position to choose and that's just the way it is. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Katie said, I can see how it could be a bad thing, but also good because don't have to deal with multiple families and keeping more personalized. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's also what we're about, isn't it? Like that personal care, really being able to support just a few families and really knowing that our support matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and our third question tonight was why keep your environment organized? And I'll try and, you liked us. So I think this is a really important one, Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this was something that really was highlighted earlier this week. I had someone come in and help me organize my home. I was feeling really overwhelmed and we just moved in and we just had stuff everywhere. And what I really noticed was that, we organized all of the play spaces and my boys' bedrooms. And when we organized it, I got rid of a lot of stuff that they no longer use, that, it was too old for them. We organized the storage area so everything was in great, see-through containers and boxes and everything was really easy to access. And then I just put 4 core activities out for my boys. So I had like a cube bookshelf. We've got 8 cubes. So I had 4 drawers at the bottom and then 4 empty spaces for books or, little things like that. And then there was a different type of thing. There was cars in one, some Duplo in another, trains, I think was in another. I can't remember what was in the other thing. But, and that, for a few days at least, they are just playing so much nicer. They're playing because there's not so many choices that they're not wasting any time or being overwhelmed with decisions, but they're just going in and picking it out and playing with the Mobilo. And, even my daughter who's only 1, her space is really tidy. She's got her own little library area and her toys, and there's only like 2 small baskets of toys there now for her. And she's just plays all day, that's her thing. So when, for me, you know, if you walk into a room, your bedroom, for example, I want you to think about how you feel if there's just stuff everywhere, or your cupboard is so full of clothes, you're just like, I can't even think of what I'm going to wear. That's how children feel when they walk into a play space. You know, if there's only a couple of things that you can choose to wear, it's pretty simple to make that decision. You haven't got many choices, and you just do it, you put it on, and you walk out the door. And it's like, if you walk into a bedroom, the bed is made, everything's put away, there's no stuff all over the floor. You feel relaxed. You feel like you can actually get to sleep really easy, you know, all of those things. So that's how children also feel. And in fact, I feel that children pick up on the environmental clutter much, much more than adults. You know, they're very sensitive to stimulation. So if they've just got stuff everywhere, it can really impact. And I remember, you know, this was really early days of when we started this show, but there was someone had said that she was getting sick of all of the toys getting damaged. And, you know, I don't know her situation because it was an unrelated question that she'd put out there. But, you know, over this week, I've really been thinking about, like, they haven't broken anything because there's not a lot of stuff out there. Everything that I've put out there, they know exactly how to use it. And it's just beautiful to watch. You know, they're just playing, and, you know, they're not even watching TV as much as they were. And they're just a whole lot happier. And so am I. It takes me about 3 seconds to tidy up because everything just has a spot. So definitely think about that. If you walk into your environment and you feel overwhelmed, 100% chance that your children are feeling the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know when we went through A&R, one of the things that the assessor said to me was, gee, you've got quite a lot out. And I had only just finished doing a whole session on overwhelm and making sure you only have a small amount of things out. I probably only have about 10% of my resources out. I pack it away. I have a really rotation through big crates going on and whatnot. I really do only put a very specific amount of things out for my children. And she was like, gee, I think you've got quite a bit out. And I was really taken back from that because I was like, no, I've only got a few things out. Because I'd really thought about it and I'd really tempted. So now even, especially after that, I really do, you know, on a Monday morning, I will look at my environment and go, okay, should I peel it back more? What else can I put away? Because it's okay for the children to ask for something. They know, you know, most of my children now have been in care with me several years. Of course, I've got new ones coming in, but the ones that have been here for a couple of years, they know what I've got. If there are things that I haven't got out this week that they would like, they ask for it. Like, you know, can we add this to this, or can we add that to that? And I actually think that's a really good skill for them to learn, to ask for things if they want them, to not feel so overwhelmed that, oh, what do I do now? But to go, hey, we could add this. So by peeling it back, you give the children that opportunity as well.
Yeah.
And if something's not working, or if you don't think you've got enough out, or if you think you've got too much out through the week, change it. Like, really make changes to make sure that the children aren't getting overwhelmed, and to make sure that you have a nice flow through the week.
Yeah.
I really and the other thing I've actually really enjoyed is in just changing out like the baskets and containers and things. I used to have lots of plastic containers, and probably over the last 2 years I've got some really nice like felt buckets and baskets and different things like that. And I've really enjoyed that. Like, adding as well because it's aesthetically pleasing, I suppose, but just changing it up a bit around the different children that I've got as well.
Yeah.
And having
it's so much nicer, isn't it? Like having baskets and things instead of plastic. I love that.
But to take a nice small basket and grab half a dozen things out of a big tub rather than putting the big tub out, it just feels nice. It really does. And if it feels nice to us, it's got to be nicer for the children as well.
Yeah. And it's much easier to tidy up.
Absolutely. But it's easier for them to learn that skill of tidying up as well. And that's what we're supposed to be teaching is, that independence and those skills, make it easy on them as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. Guys, have you got any questions? I'm just flicking back through. I can't see any questions. Are you happy with that, Nikki? I just
I don't have any more questions either, actually.
Okay. I was just thinking about the baskets and things. We really want to feel aesthetically pleasing. Just to go back to that, we really want to like the environment that we're working in. We really want to feel happy and like it's fresh and like the children like it as well. There's nothing better than a pick-me-up around the resources that we're offering, but how we're offering them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice, especially I like to use trays as well, but baskets, trays, little buckets, things like that, keeping the activities together or all of the resources that you need for a particular activity, it just makes it easier for the children to access. And when you've got small baskets and things like rather than big tubs, they can actually pick it up and carry it to their workspace or wherever they want to be doing the activity. It's a whole lot easier for them. A whole lot easier.
I added to our dress ups, I added half a dozen little purses. And
lovely.
I have to remember when I'm packing up to check in the little purses because they will collect things through the day and then I'll be like, oh, there's a piece missing from that set and I don't know where it is. But they love to gather things and move them around, and to give them things that they can do that with, I think is really special.
Yeah.
So Kathleen says, I don't deal with this at the moment, but how do you deal with parents that don't give back? For example, don't want the artwork to go home or don't appreciate what you do for their children and their families. Oh, this is a hard one. I think this really goes to mindset. My focus is, yes, I want to support the families, but my focus is on giving that child skills that they can take away with and that they're learning every day in my environment. And if you can see that you're making a difference with a child and you can see that you're supporting their development and you can get joy from that, then sometimes the harshness of parents not understanding or not wanting isn't as harsh. Do you think that's fair, Nikki?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you have to remember is that your reaction and it's really the way you present yourself is the only thing you can control. You cannot control how parents how their mood is, how they respond to you and what you do with their child. That is their thing. That is their problem. That is their issue, and you cannot control it. Yeah. So your stress and anxiety and disappointment comes in the fact that, that you've got this expectation of what you want their response to be, but you can't control that. So if you let go of that expectation of what their response will be, then that you don't have to be disappointed. It doesn't matter how they react as long as you are doing what you know you should be doing with their child, that you are providing that environment, that you are providing those resources. If the parents don't want to take that on board, the parents don't care, that's not your business. That's okay. It doesn't matter. As long as whatever you're doing, you feel happy with that, because that's the only thing that you can control. You cannot control how they respond to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so agree. So Kathleen says, I agree, but when you have a parent that hands back their child's artwork in the afternoon in front of the child and says they don't want it, how would you react? Okay, so me personally, if I had this done to me, and I have had it done to me before, I would go, thanks, that's great. We can hang it on the wall now. So that the child sees that you value it. Yes, their parent might not, but make a big deal of it. Thanks for giving that back. That's fabulous. I'm going to hang it up on our wall. And make sure that when the child comes back, it's hanging on the wall. And you know what? If you know that, I would probably take it down and pop it in a folder when their next artwork is ready to go up. So if that has happened to them and you don't want it to happen again, but you want to recognize the artwork that the child has done, then I would make a point of putting it up. I really would. But then you're not going to take it down and try and give it to the parent again. That's just pointless. And you're not going to try and chuck it out when the child's not looking either. Let the child then help you in the next couple of days, take it down and pop it in a folder, which then gets tucked away. But make a point of putting their next artwork up so that you're actually showing that you value what they do, because you don't want them to sit down to make their next craft or make their next colouring or whatever's coming up and going, oh, I don't want to do it. And that's what you risk. If you just go, you know, if you make a big deal of them taking it, then, and if you make a big deal of not giving it back, or if you take it and put it in the bin yourself, like any way you look at it, it doesn't work with the parent. If a parent handed me back a piece of artwork, I would make a big deal of it. I would say, thanks, this is great. I can hang it up. Oh, look. And I've got a section in my entryway where I've got strings across and little pegs, and I peg up all the children's artwork. And I did have a talk about it at one stage with my husband about having all the kids' artwork there, because there's stuff that's been hanging there for months that the children don't want to take down, but there's stuff that'll only go up for a day and then they'll take it down to take home. So I don't know, if this becomes an issue for you, then you know what? Make an issue of it. Pop it up and make it a celebration so that you are celebrating with the child and the child knows that you value it. Because as Nikki says, that way, as Nikki says, you can't change their reaction to it. You can't make them want it. And if you know that they're going to just take it and make a big deal about putting it in the bin with the child, you don't really want that either. So make a big deal about it with the child, because that's what you can control about loving what they're doing. And I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with what you said.
Katie says she does a scrapbook and she puts it all in there. And also I take photos of them doing the artwork to show parents they're doing the craft artworks. Some families don't want lots of stuff coming home all the time. They just don't, and that's right. That's their choice. There's nothing we can do about that. And Kathleen says, just to clarify, I have wonderful parents. One gives me flowers every Friday. Now that's a nice parent. I just wanted to open up a question discussion, as I know a fair few educators that are having this issue. Absolutely, absolutely. This it comes up. It does. It comes up. you know, you might go years and years and not have a parent that actually asks for artwork all the time. I actually have one that, oh, what did they do today? Have I got something new to hang on the fridge today? Which I just love. But yeah, every now and then you'll have one parent that just doesn't realize the value of responding in a respectful way to their child. Is that, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think this, you know, as long as you are doing your best about that situation, like there's nothing you can do about how the parent reacts. I mean, if you feel that the child is being deeply affected, like it's really obvious, perhaps you could address that by sending information to parents about the importance of recognition of what they're doing. You know, that could be something that if you feel that the child is obviously quite affected by the parent not taking the artwork or whatever it is that they've put together.
Yeah. Thanks, Kathleen. That was a great question.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. If there's no more questions. Yeah. I was like,
that was a really good one tonight. There's lots of good questions there.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, everyone. Look, if you come up with questions through the week, then pop them down. We will come back to them. And we will be over on Nikki's page on Start Your Own Family Daycare. Yes, Kathleen, 8:30 tonight. Yeah. So we will be back next week at 7:30 on Nikki's Start Your Own Family Daycare page, which will be very nice. You're welcome, Katie. And thank you, Nikki, for being here. We always have fun.
Thanks for having me. Oh, it was good fun.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.